And here we have the big boys. We got Waldo Cortes Acosta taking on Jared Vanderra in the heavyweight division. Waldo Cortes Acosta, he's making his UFC debut after a successful Dana White Contender Series appearance. Cortes Acosta made short work of his Contender Series opponent. He took him out in the first round by knockout. And currently Acosta has won 3 fights in a row via KO. He's undefeated at 7-0 in his MMA career. And Acosta's first 3 fights were not really against good competition or in big shows, but his last 4 fights, he's raised his level of competition. He had the opportunity to fight on Bellator 271. He got the win over Mo DeReese, who's a PFL veteran. Then went on to win the LFA title, where he knocked out Thomas Peterson, who was previously undefeated. And then his last fight was his fight in the Contender Series. And he's going to be fighting one of the lower level fighters in the division to start out, in Jared Vanderra, which I think is appropriate for where Cortes Acosta is at. And Cortes Acosta has good boxing, some potential, but I think the UFC needs to bring him up slowly if they want him to have success. For Jared Vanderra, he's in dire straits. He's 1-5 in his first 6 UFC fights. He's been finished 4 times. And I think the UFC is keeping him around because he is game to accept short notice fights. He'll accept fights against anybody. And, you know, that's kind of evident if you look at his record. He's fought guys like Spivak, Alexander Romanov, Arlovsky, Alexei Oleinik. I mean, that's not usually the type of guys you fight when you're first getting into the UFC. But in his last fight, he got knocked out by Chase Sherman, which is a bad loss. Could definitely have gotten cut, but the UFC is giving him another chance here. His one win in the UFC came against Justin Tafa, who, that's not a high-level win. I believe Tafa was 4-2 at the time that they fought. And Vanderra's 12-9, so very up-and-down career. 4 losses in a row. And this is 100% a must-win. If he loses this fight, I don't see how he sticks around in the UFC. But with Waldo Cortes Acosta, I see some people kind of trashing him this week. I see they're, you know, not really liking his style, but I disagree with that. I think that he definitely has some potential. Like I said, I think you got to bring him up a little bit slowly. But he's young. He's 31 years old for the heavyweight division. He's big. He has some size, 6'4", 78-inch reach. Vanderra's a big guy too, so Vanderra's going to be the same height of a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight, but Cortes has pretty good size. He has great cardio. He has a good chin. He has good boxing, good speed. He throws a lot of volume, and he throws in combination. And, you know, all those things for the heavyweight division are going to be a problem. I mean, another thing about Cortes Acosta that he has is he has decent ability with his takedown defense too. So I think the guy has some potential. I think he could potentially be a good fighter. But right now, I mean, I think if he fought a high-level wrestler, he would get exposed, taken down, and controlled. And I think if he fought someone that, you know, was a higher-level striker that could pressure him, mix it up, throw kicks, and things like that, they could beat Waldo. Because Waldo's still pretty one-dimensional with the boxing. And he will, you know, he likes to get into clinch too and dirty box and work some clinch takedowns, but he obviously, you know, is way better on the feet. I feel like his last fight on the Contender Series, he looked better than ever. I don't know if that was more the opponent or it was him, but he was super confident. He was throwing some real nice combos, throwing heat. I mean, the guy for heavyweight has real nice hands. Good jab, sets things up really well off the jab. He'll go to the body to open up the head. He throws real nice straight shots. On the inside, he has good boxing combos too. And, you know, I like him. I think he's a good prospect. With Jared Vanderra, we got a guy that I definitely feel like the UFC is kind of trying to set up to get the win here. He's not really a threat to take down Waldo Cortes Acosta. His defense is really porous. He's very hittable, and he's pretty slow. I mean, I think Cortes Acosta is going to be there to land multi-punch combos on Vanderra. And the thing about Vanderra, though, is he does have a good chin. He has a high output. He can mix in some kicks, and he is down to strike. So Vanderra is a guy that is going to test Cortes Acosta in a way because he's not going to be an easy guy to take out. He's going to, you know, potentially be able to land some leg kicks, so we're going to see how Cortes Acosta deals with someone that could, you know, have some threat with outside striking. But I think Acosta can even control in the clinch, maybe even get some offensive takedowns himself. I think he's the better grappler here, which is tough to say usually when you're watching a guy that's traditionally a boxer. But I just think Vanderra is just real low level in that level of the game of MMA. And I think on the feet, Cortes Acosta has better combos. He's much faster. And Vanderra, you know, he may have some success landing some counters and, you know, landing some kicks, but I feel like Acosta has shown me that he has a good enough chin to take some shots. And I think that he has the ability on the feet to really put on a show here, throw a lot of combinations, land clean, and look pretty good. So I'm going to say Acosta dominates the first round, lands a lot of combinations, and has Vanderra hurt on several occasions. Then in the second round, he takes him out. So I got Acosta here. And if it wasn't a heavyweight division, I wouldn't be saying, you know, he has a lot of potential or whatever. But I feel like he could maybe get into the top 15. I mean, we see guys that, like Justin Ledet, for instance, he had a jab, decent boxing, and he made it to the top 15 rankings at heavyweight. And I feel like Cortes Acosta is a little bit more dynamic than Justin Ledet was, a little bit bigger too. And, you know, another guy like Carlos Felipe, I feel like that's another guy, shorter, more compact, that has boxing skill. I feel like Cortes Acosta, you know, he has a little bit more than they do, and it's a similar style. So I think he could potentially, you know, get into the bottom half of the top 10, 15 rankings. And I think Vanderra is a good start, though. I think, you know, avoid him fighting wrestlers, avoid him fighting good pressure fighters with power and things like that for now. And maybe you could progress him, you know, later on. So I got Acosta here to get the win, and I'm going to say he wins by second round KO TKO.